folks, this is Woody up here in beautiful northwest Montana. We're working on a hot tub, and I'm going to show you how to make a poor man's boiler system. Now this here is a wood-fired boiler, and all it is a 55-gallon drum that I have taken and encapsulated in Durarock using angle iron. As you can see, the bolts, it's all sealed and insulated, and there's your draft control here, and the wood is just to kind of support the Durarock a little better so that it don't break through. You got to use washers and they'll stress out, but there's lots of ways you can do this. Now, I'm not telling you folks how to do anything. I'm telling you what I did, so don't try to sue me if you burn your house down. All I'm doing is showing you what I did. So if you don't have much money and you want to do an outdoor boiler, you can take this type of a system, 55-gallon barrel, buried in rocks and sand. I've got a couple probes here. There's going to be a probe inside of here to give me a temp. Fill that with pea gravel. I'm going to also take some readings, and I want to see how much heat this thing generates. Essentially the key is you got two pipes running through a 55-gallon barrel. All they are is galvanized steel. You can use black, you can use whatever you want. It's got to be steel. You can use copper, but you can't use PVC. PVC, this stuff, of course, would melt in the firebox. So don't use that. This is a slide draft. It slides back and forth. Secondary combustion. It's kind of needs a good tug. But it's just Durarock and angle iron bolted together. That's all it is. Real simple, folks. You could build something like this fairly cheap. So in a survival situation, you could take something like this, have it indoors or outdoors, and this is called thermosiphoning. If you look at the two pipes and you look at the angles, if you look, one pipe is lower than the other. The other pipe's higher. The lower pipe goes into it and goes around, loops, and comes back. That's your pivot. So you have the pipe inside the 55-gallon barrel running down on an angle, and then it gradually goes down into the hot tub or barrel. Could be any kind of barrel. And this is where you're going to store your BTUs to heat your house. And then essentially, this is the water coming in. Cool water goes up, hot water continues to go up. So the cool water comes in on an angle, feeds in because it's coolest, and the hottest. Those are your two temperature differences. That's what creates thermosiphoning. The fact that the water down here is cooler and the water at the top is hotter. So it naturally draws. That's what thermosiphoning is. You'll get a little banging when you first fire it if you fire it too hot. I generally fire it kind of gradual, get it to warm up. And then this puppy just circulates on its own. No pumps, no electricity, no nothing. So in a survival situation, it can be a pretty handy thing to have if you're trying to heat a structure, like a large farmhouse or something like that. So you can essentially have something like this in your basement. You of course want to enclose it, and then you have your stack coming out, which is Class A pipe. I have some Class A over here, and I was doing a little experiment with this pipe. Like I said, don't recommend you guys do this, but I'm always playing around. You got two different kinds of pipe, okay? I'll teach you a little bit about pipe. This is your classic old-fashioned triple wall. Outer wall, inner wall, insulation, and very inner wall. Three different pipes. Air cooled on the outside, one little bit of insulation to keep the pipe at temperature. Problem with this is kind of obsolete, they say. In really cold temperatures, the cold air comes down into the house, makes it drafty. So what they've done, they've gone to solid pack pipe. So what I've done, the solid pack pipe is, of course, sealed, and there's insulation in between. You got 1-inch insulation instead of a 1/2 inch. And this is, both of them are Class A rated pipe. Plus, you can buy it at your local hardware store. It's kind of mass merchant pipe. It's pretty much obsolete in my opinion, but it does work in warmer climates. Up in Alaska, Montana, you know, you get where it's cold, I recommend solid pack pipe. So it holds the heat a lot better. And you got to remember something, folks. Creosote develops when there's a 200-degree difference between the outside temperature and the inside temperature. So you get condensation. So you want that inside temperature to stay as hot as possible. So once it gets below 200 degrees, it'll start forming. So running a stick of single wall pipe out, you'll make mega creosote, which is a chimney fire. So anyhow, that's a stack. You can use triple wall pipe. It's good for going through something. Now, in this case, you got a deck over here. This is all going to get enclosed. So it'll be essentially like in a basement. And instead of using the hot tub to sit in and soak, you wouldn't want to do that if you're going to drink this water, of course. Of course, this water, actually, you could drink it. I mean, with all the purification systems that I have on board, I'm not picking people up off the streets and letting them in my hot tub. There's nobody in here but me and my wife. We had to drink it, we could. But I wouldn't recommend it. But anyhow, without the jets and stuff, you could use this as a storage tank. It could be PVC, plastic. You wrap it with insulation. Now you have a vessel to hold the BTUs. You're not using any power whatsoever. Next thing you do is you put a heat exchanger, copper, plumbing, whatever inside of here. Coils. And just put them in and put an inlet and an outlet. You can have multiple ones, multiple zones. Same thing, keep the low pipe going down, the upper pipe going up. It will naturally thermosiphon without any pumps. Now this is an open system, it cannot explode. Make sure that your tank is not sealed. Now the whole reason I'm showing you folks about hot tubs is because I sell wood stoves and boilers, and I'm trying to correlate to you the use of BTUs. You can view this as a hot tub, or you can view it as a huge tank storing BTUs, kind of like a battery. So water is a great product that stores heat. Tremendous amounts of BTUs can be stored in water. So you can keep these BTUs in a tank using coils, and you can pump the water or let it thermosiphon through certain areas of your house, and actually you can heat your house just using thermosiphoning. If you do have to use a pump, you can use a very small pump, not drawing a lot of power, that can be driven by solar panels. But there's a lot you can do if you're creative. So essentially what we have here is a 500-gallon Redwood Hot Tub, 2 5-horsepower pumps with a jacuzzi filter that will be fed by both propane and wood. And this is Woody from Obadiah's. I hope you enjoyed this YouTube. Thank you. Good.